already, guys, what is going on? So my name is Chris Keown. I'm 23 years old, and this is the story of how I planted 25,000 trees, made $5,632 in 2.5 weeks. So planting trees for me started in 2021. Went out west for my first season. I had 2 full seasons there back to back, 2021 to 2022. Planted 105,000, 165,000, those 2 seasons respectively. Then I took a season off. I had to do some summer courses for school. Did that, and then 2024, so last summer, went out west again. That time it was only a short stint. I did 5 weeks, had to get back for graduation and some other commitments. So after that third season, that third part season, I thought I would never plant trees again. I had graduated from uni. I got my degree in chemical engineering, and I just assumed, okay, I'll just find a job right away. That didn't happen. Ended up working at Canadian Tire there for probably like 10 months. And I finally got my job, but the way it worked out, I wasn't going to start this engineering job until mid-May. So I talked with my foreman, and I was like, is it possible that I can squeeze in just a little bit of planting before I start my real job? And yeah, worked out. So from April 17th to May 4th, I was out there. That's why it was really, really short. But even though it was such a short period of time, I was able to just fully capitalize on that contract and make an absurd amount of money in such a short period of time. And that is that story right now. So I was never, I would say, decently quick. Like as a rookie, I wasn't really that fast. As a second year, I was decent. I think I was like 4th highest in camp that year, but a bunch of the vets were gone, so it wasn't really that impressive. And then my third season there coming back, I definitely was pretty quick, but something just clicked, I think, towards the middle of that second season. And then again, I was only there for 5 weeks, and then I left. And I kind of always had this feeling of some unfinished business with planting, where it was like you invest so much time and so much effort into learning such a specific skill that it's almost a shame that you won't be able to fully capitalize off it, because tree planting isn't really a skill that translates. Like I think the effort and the lessons that you learn obviously translate to life very well, but the actual process of putting a tree in the ground isn't really going to translate over to life that much. So I was kind of bummed out. I mean, I was obviously looking forward to starting my engineering career, but the smallest part of me was bummed out that I wouldn't be able to plant again. So I was happy when it did work out, that I was like, realized, hey, like I can squeeze in, even though it's just a small period of time, just a little bit more planting, because I felt like I had this unfinished business. So I got there. We were planting in 70 Mile House, which is like central, kind of southern BC. Ended up doing this burn contract, so a forest fire rolled through there. Not really sure when, maybe like 3 years back. And yeah, it was this huge contract that a couple of camps from our company were working on, a bunch of other companies in the area as well. So it wasn't actually that long for us. I think there was only 500,000 trees there. But I showed up. The centage was good, so anywhere between 18.5 and 20 cents for what was pretty good land. With forest fire regeneration, it's all obstacle planting, so you're planting along fallen logs, fallen trees, typically on the northeast side, just because then the fir trees will have ample shade coverage. So that's why it pays a little bit more, but once you get good at it, like it really isn't that hard to obstacle plant. So for an experienced planter, you can definitely make money, and that is exactly what I did. So first day, we were ramping up, only 3 hours of planting. I was able to make $252. Day 2, we got 6 hours of planting. I was able to make $504. And then day 3, I ended up making $522 in another 6 hours. And I have a clip from that day. I'll roll it now. So I'll just chat a bit as I bag up these trees. So basically, for anyone who doesn't know how planting works in Canada, it's piecework. You're paid per tree. This guy is a fir tree, little baby Christmas tree. You're paid anywhere between 13 and whatever, 20 cents roughly per tree. What we're planting right now is forest fire regeneration, so it's all burnt out forest here. Usually with burnt out forest, you do obstacle planting, so you're planting against fallen trees, fallen stumps, fallen logs, big rocks, that type of thing. This specific piece is 20 cents per tree, which is absolutely sick. And yeah, basically you just go out there, you go absolutely nuts, pound in as many as you can in your day, and that's how you make your money. So that was about $1,300 made in 3 days. 3 days that were not even full days. At that point I was like, yeah, like this is gonna be good. Like this land is sick, this contract is sick. If I just dig in and do what I know I can do, I'm gonna make bank. Day 4 rolls around, we get to a block that's pretty slashy. Still, I'd say like good money for what it is. It's more fairly priced, I'd say, because the first 3 days though, that first shift was 20 cents per tree on like really good land. This guy I think was like 18.5 for like very slashy, but we still run it though. Like it doesn't matter the conditions. If it's priced even remotely fair, we're gonna make good money, and that's exactly what I did. So there was 8 hours to work with there. I put in 2,350 trees and made $458. Day 5, it was a bit tough. So obviously there's a bunch of rookies on the crew. So the first block we were on, obviously with everyone learning and, you know, me maybe as well, you know, some people messed up a few things. So a couple things had to be replanted. So day 5 there got, cut short. It was only a half day because we first had to go to the first block, do some replanting, and then go back to the new block. So I was only able to plant for a couple hours, but I still put in 1,355 trees and still made $264, which at the time I was not happy about. But if you think about it objectively, it is still pretty absurd money for only like 3 hours of work. Day 6, we then are on that same block, but I get a slightly nicer piece, and I'm like, I'm gonna hit 3K today, non-negotiable, and I just went fucking nuts. Put in 3,300 trees, and I hit a money PB that day, $644. It was a pretty far drive as well, so we had like just under 8 hours of planting time. And that gets the first 6 days in the books. At that point, I planted 1,300, and I planted 13,395 trees and made $2,644. Then we get to day 7. Ooh, day 7, baby. So day 7, we get to this block, and it wasn't even like amazing, but it was like pretty good. Like the soil was pretty good. There was some grass mat in a few areas, but it was like, there was definitely some money to be made there. Same kind of thing. The drive was like far-ish, so I think we had like about 8 hours of planting time. But I went fucking nuts. I planted 3,720 trees, and I hit a new money PB of $707. That day was absolutely insane. Like if you think about it, $707 for 8 hours of work. Is it hard? Of course. But yeah, it's just nuts. Like I'll put a photo on screen here. So basically every single box that you plant, the trees come in boxes of 315 trees. To prove that you planted what you said you did, you rip the tally off each box, and then that's what you hand to your foreman at the end of the day to get paid. So each of those stickers is worth like $60, depending on, you know, number of trees in the box and amount of money per tree. But on this piece, it ended up being about, $60 per sticker. So here's a photo of me holding all the stickers that day. And like that feeling is so rewarding because it's like you're literally holding like $707 worth of tallies that you hand to your foreman. And it's like, fuck yeah, like that's sick. Yeah, day 8, it put on this piece that's significantly worse, but you know, we still work with it. Put in 3,195, makes $607. Day 9, just shy of 3K, 2,945, make $560. So in those 3 days, I made like $1,800, which is absurd money, like just filthy cash. And then, yeah, because we worked so hard, that contract was pretty much done. It was nice. We cleaned it up. There should have been another first shipment of 50,000 trees. We didn't get it. I don't know why, but that's okay. Shit happens. So we only had 1 day left, day 10, which was a half day. So we ran out of trees, but I still put in 1,410 trees and made $268.
Never give up.
So in 10 days of planting, with only half of those being like actual full days and the other half's just being kind of like dick arounds with a repo or a contract close or a couple day ramp up. So literally 5 part days and 5 full days. I planted 24,665 trees. So basically 25,000, and made $4,786. That whole time I was there, I was a driver as well. So I drove to and from the block each day. You get paid $35 to drive the ETV, the emergency transport vehicle, which was the one that I drove. So $35 a day times the 10 days of driving is $350. Add that on. I also drove the camp moves there and back, from Prince George to 70 Mile House, and then from 70 Mile House to the next camp, Fort St. James. I didn't actually plant there. I flew home after that, but I still drove that. So I got paid for both of those drives as well. And then also on a day off, I did a couple foremen there a favor and picked up a couple of their guys from the airport. They planted a couple boxes for me, so I got like a couple $100 from that. So from being a driver as well, I made $716. So add that to the $4,700 from the trees. And then a couple extras. I did a 4-hour camp setup, which was $70. And then there was a preseason training, you know, like some BS online courses, like bear safety and all that, like, you know, jazz. Made $50 from that. So it's $130 from extras. Let me get the total here. So the total was $5,632, and $4,800 of that being actually from trees, and the rest just being from extras. Yeah, so that's how I did it. That's how I made $5,600 in 2.5 weeks planting trees. Obviously, this isn't going to be what you're going to make as soon as you get there. There's an element of luck as well. Like, even if you are a good planter, the contract might not be the best, but there always is good money to be made out in Western Canada planting trees, specifically BC. BC tends to pay a bit better than Alberta. Different people think, you know, one's a bit better than the other. Alberta typically a slightly lower spec, faster land, more like prepped land that you can plant more trees, but you get paid less per tree. I personally just like BC. You plant less trees for more money. And at the end of the day, that's kind of what it's about. Yeah, so take from this what you will. Take it with a grain of salt. Obviously, again, your first season, you're not going to be making this kind of cash, but definitely something to aim towards. And this also, just by the way, like the company I work for is decent, of course, but it is not even like top tier by any means in terms of amount paid. Yeah, like great company, great people, but there are even better companies out there, like vet companies that pay even more. And I've talked to different people who've worked in companies like that. And this one dude who I planted with my first season, actually, so he went out to a vet company, and he was saying his experience was, also keep in mind, this guy was like top tier planter. Like, you're only going to get into some of these like super well paying companies if you're absolutely sick at planting. But he said he showed up the first contract, everybody was making like $700 a day, and they were all pissed. They were like, oh, like, this is shit, we're not making that much, blah blah blah. So, you know, I don't exactly know where it caps out, but I think if you're making $700 a day, you're doing pretty damn well. I had a small taste of that, and it was absolutely amazing. So, as I said, I just kind of make this video to inspire, to kind of have something to aim towards for people considering planting trees. There is absolutely money to be made out there if you're just willing to work hard enough to get it. It is not an easy job. There's a lot of elements to contend with. Bugs and weather and climate and a bunch of BS, and, you know, the fact that some land's pretty bad and slash and rooty and rocky and grass mat and schnarb and everything else. But like, if you're able to kind of zone all that out and enter like just this kind of state of just pure focus, which is what I achieved this last season. We're just like, you're focused on nothing else. I don't listen to music out there, like nothing. You're just thinking next tree, next tree, next tree, and you just keep moving and you never stop. You will make bank. Absolutely guarantee. Yeah, so with that being said, try it out if you want. There's something about planting, man. There's something about it. Even though I now have my career, I've been working a couple weeks now at my engineering job, which I absolutely love. There's something about planting trees, man. And I might sneak in another couple weeks at some point. You know, I might have to. But yeah. All right, guys. Thank you for watching, and until next time, take it easy.